Hey, what's going on, guys? Here I am again, JV, coming to you live this Thursday afternoon. Today is September the 12th. It is the year 2024. We're approximately 10 days away from the end of the summertime, if you can believe that. Even though here in Mexico City, it's a little bit cooler than it is up in the States, up in on the West Coast. And it's been raining. It's been raining profusely every afternoon. It's like clockwork. It's like they have like a guy out in the clouds, out in the atmosphere, that has like the ability to turn on and off the water faucet, and it starts raining at around the same time every single day. It's just incredible. It's just remarkable stuff to watch. But it's not just in Mexico. It's throughout the course of Latin America, up and down Latin America. You go to different countries, and it tends to always rain in the afternoon. I remember when I was in Medellin 3 years ago, same thing, same story. It would rain like around 6:15, 6:30 in the afternoon every single day, and during the morning hours and midday it was extremely hot, and that is the case here. It's not extremely hot here, but it's relatively warm. And the topic of discussion that I wanted to have today is the very, very pessimistic view that Mexicans have about their own country. And let me explain what I mean. There is a reform, a judicial reform that's taking place right now in Mexico. It's the big issue. It's the big story. It's in which the various factions of political parties are debating and passing. And debating as to whether or not they want to pass a new judicial or justice reform, in which the people, the citizenry, the voters of Mexico are going to be deciding who the judges are going to be in this country. So it's going to be a democratic process, like you have with the legislature and like you have with the executive branch, similar to what you see in the United States, only that in the U.S., judges are not voted on by the citizenry, by the American people. They are appointed by presidents, by and large, by presidents, right? Well, here in Mexico, the reform is basically a done deal. They already have the votes in the Senate, they have the votes in the Congress, and they're going to pass this reform. And there's been a lot of polarization regarding opinions as to whether or not this is a good idea or not. Because on the one hand, it basically liberates the judicial system in Mexico from outside forces, like the United States, of course, like other countries, like Canada, maybe, like, I don't know, other foreign entities that might have an influence over various justices, over various judges up and down Mexico. So from that standpoint, this reform is going to make it independent for all these judges these judges are going to be voted on by the Mexican people, and they're going to be independent from, hopefully, from outside influences. But on the other hand, the reform has also brought a lot of backlash to the controlling party, which is called Morena, which is the party of the sitting president, AMLO, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, and the incoming president who will be assuming power next month, Claudia Sheinbaum, the first female Mexican president in the history of the country, and I believe the first female president in North America's history. So she's going to be making history, and she also belongs to the same party, and they are basically a party that has domination. They basically control all three executive branches, or three branches of the government: the executive, the judicial, and the legislative branch. So they're going to have a lot of power, and they're already wielding their power. And that's one of the first things that the new Congress, which assumed their seats earlier this month, or late last month. I don't remember what time it was or when did it happen. they're going to have a lot of power, and that's scaring a lot of investors. A lot of foreign investors don't want to have anything to do with the new reform because a lot of these judges are not going to be qualified in their eyes. And so there's going to be a lot of chaos. They are basically saying that this new party is basically a dictatorial party. It's not going to be a democracy. In reality, this party is going to be appointing the judges that they want to appoint. They're going to manipulate the system so that they basically stack the courts in their favor, and that will basically pave the way for the Morena party to pass any legislation that they want at will, because nobody's going to be able to stop them. They already have power in the Congress. They have power in the executive branch with the new president coming in, and so if they appoint judges through this so-called democratic process in which the Mexican people are going to be, appointing the judges, they're going to have complete and total power. So that's scaring a lot of foreign investors. The Mexican peso has had a huge decline. It has tumbled all the way down to almost 20 pesos for $1 American dollar. And before the election of June the 2nd of this year, the Mexican peso was hovering around 16, or the dollar was hovering around 16 pesos, which in the eyes of many people, they were calling it the super peso because it was very strong against the dollar. Well, that's not the case anymore. And so a lot of people are very pessimistic about the future of this country. Even though the upcoming president won in a landslide in the last elections of June the 2nd, they're going to have, despite the fact that they voted overwhelmingly for her and her party, there's a lot of pessimism by the Mexican people. And that may trigger another wave of immigration. That may trigger more people moving out of Mexico and going to other countries around the world for a better lifestyle, because there is some fear that the economy of Mexico is going to go into a recession as a result of the lack of foreign investment that's going to be taking place. So a lot of Mexicans who are notoriously and historically very pessimistic about their country, they don't trust their politicians, they don't trust the institutions of this country. They never have, really, for the last 100 years, ever since the PRI took over, the levers of power of this country. The Mexican people have been very, very, very pessimistic about their government, about their country. Currently, the Mexican economy is the 12th strongest economy in the world. It had a GDP growth of about 3.2% in the last year. So they're doing relatively okay as far as their economy with respect to the global economy and how everything is maneuvering, and how everything is interconnected nowadays in the global stage with the economy. And the U.S. continues to be Mexico's number one partner and vice versa. So the investment from American companies is going to continue to occur regardless of who is in power. But the pessimism of the Mexican citizenry is very palpable. The media, the legacy media here in Mexico is also predicting some very, very turbulent times for the Mexican economy coming up in the next 6 years, in which Claudia Sheinbaum, the new president, is going to be in power. So we'll see what ripple effect this has on Mexico's economy, immigration, and the judicial system in this country. Where is it going to lead? How much power? What is this current government's power? What are they going to do with it? What direction are they going to steer the country towards? So there's a lot of pessimism, and like I mentioned, here I am in Mexico. I've been here almost 2 weeks. I've been watching the news from time to time, and that's what they're talking about. So this may have a ripple effect on what happens in the U.S. with respect to immigration, on what happens to Canada with respect to immigration, and we'll see how things unfold over the next 6 months. But I just wanted to provide you with a little bit of context, with a little bit of information as to what's going on down here in Mexico. There might be some people that watch this video that are interested in what's going on, but right now they're fast tracking this judicial reform because this president that's has only a couple of weeks to go before he is done, before he is out of office. He wants to leave this legacy on his resume before his term is up as president of Mexico. And in the eyes of a lot of Mexicans, he's acting like a dictator. He's acting like a man who clearly doesn't care about the institutions, the political institutions of Mexico, and he wants to ram it down people's throats, and he's already succeeded. They've already succeeded because they've already passed the judicial reform and Congress as well as in the Senate. Anyway, just wanted to give you this information. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Have a good rest of your Thursday.